And then he said, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills.
I can't catch a break, guys.
Yeah.
Get them the fuck away from me. I can't be around those guys.
People think, oh, well, cleaning your room, that's just a cliche. It's like, yeah, really, eh? Just go ahead and try it.
If people had any idea how powerful sleep is for healing from anything, and the fact that it's free.
My mind is absolutely bulletproof, solid as a rock.
Podcast. And we're live. Good morning, San Diego. Hope everybody's well. This is Brandon Mulligan, and I am joined with the lovely
Chris Mulligan Johnson
from the Fight and Fit studio, guys. And today we are going to chat about a few different things, but the main thing that we're going to chat about is the fact that our lovely, lovely, lovely people at Fighting Fit are our overheads, our bosses, our brothers, our in-laws, whatever you want to call them.
There's a lot of people knocked up lately.
True. So basically what the guys did was they decided to send us on a course over Zoom, obviously with COVID happening, which is hilarious because COVID is probably the reason that everybody's pregnant. So here's what you see in a timeline. You see COVID, you see a bunch of memes of saying everyone's going to get pregnant come the end of it, and then near the end of COVID, or I don't know if it's nearly over, but about 8 months in, you see the Fight and Fit coaches doing a pregnancy course.
Interesting.
Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. So obviously this was a need at this time. We've got plenty of clients, plenty of whom are female and plenty of who are deciding to start their family, and pregnancy
or continue their family,
and is deciding to or pregnancy is an essential part of life, and it is what it's all about. But you don't necessarily have to stop your health and fitness journey in order to do so. You do need to modify it, and you need to make some changes. Obviously your body's going through an awful lot. There's an awful lot now happening in your life, so how do you manage the lifestyle? And we basically now are doing, well, we're finished the course, we just have a little
one
exam
assignment
to do.
Yeah.
And once we do that, we'll be qualified to coach pregnant ladies. They're not people, are they? Or they're people, but they're people, but they're women.
Brandon's soundbite for the year. Pregnant women aren't people.
They're not people. They're women. Are women people? Women are people, but people aren't women.
No.
Nope.
You're right. It's right both ways.
It's right both ways. All right, cool.
Not all people are women.
Not all people are women, but all women are people.
Yeah.
That's the soundbite we're looking for. All right, so now that's out of the way. What have you thought of the course so far, Chris?
I thought it was really interesting. I thought it was... I was really surprised at how little extra women have to eat when they're pregnant. It's only, 300 calorie surplus, 400 calorie surplus, and that's about it. They don't have to eat for two, as most people say. You don't have to stop exercising. You can keep exercising like pretty intensely right up until the second trimester, and then everything starts to sort of ease off a little bit, and then it eases off a lot coming into the third trimester. I thought it was really interesting. There's loads of stuff there I didn't know. I was pulling this face a lot because they were mentioning some stuff that happens. You know, what's the thing where the abs separate disty? We just did the course, we still have some studying to do.
Oh, let me look it up. Actually, guys, this is something really, really interesting. And again, you don't need to remember the name to understand the principle, but it helps to make you sound professional.
So basically, this is what the abdominal wall splits down the middle, and you can do some exercises to sort of pull it back together. But there's loads of stuff that will help make that worse if you don't know what to do to avoid it.
Apparently, it happens in 90% of women. Isn't that what it says?
90? Bloody hell. 90% of women.
Maybe not.
I remember one client who came to us who did have it, and this is about when we first started out to have fitness journey, and she was like, "Oh, I had no idea what to do," and I didn't know anything about it. I think she said it was permanent, or she thought it was permanent, but it was weird. She showed me, like, literally, like, took my fingers. She was like, "Look," and I put them in. I was like, "Oh, Jesus, that's mad."
No, it is bloody crazy.
Can you find it?
It's on the tip of my tongue. It's diasti recti.
There you go.
Alright, so basically your abdominal wall gets separated. The muscles still stay intact, but essentially it's all the ligaments and connective tissue that essentially lengthens. And for some women, they've got big issues with getting that back together, and in extreme cases, it can surgery has to be done in order to fix it. And in an awful lot of cases, you can just do it with kind of exercises and time and all this kind of stuff.
So what's the name of it again?
Diastole recti.
Diastole recti. I thought it was distal recti. But diastole recti, the way you fix it is you just learn to use your core correctly and use the deep inner core things. Pilates is really good for it. That's why so many people promote Pilates for people who are recovering from pregnancy. Number one thing is to use your deep muscles. Imagine you're putting on a pair of tight jeans. You suck in and squeeze your lower abs to do that, and you're like, squeeze those muscles together. And if you keep doing that and you do that really well over and over again, it helps knit them back together. I'm sure there's other exercises that will help a lot better, but you want to learn how to use your deep abdominal muscles.
You do that kind of while you're doing exercises.
Yeah. And just sit there on a Bosu ball as well, just
Bosu
or a yoga ball, just sitting up and just squeeze and release, kind of like the same way you do Kegel exercises as well.
Yeah.
Kegel exercise and pelvic floor. Let's get into that.
What is a Kegel exercise, Chris?
It's where you squeeze you can't hold the muscle in your pelvic floor to squeeze it and
How
hold
do I do
it.
that, though?
Huh?
How do I do that?
So imagine that you're going for a pee or a poo, and then all of a sudden someone walks in and you just go, oh! I'm sure when you're watching when you're watching this, you did it at home. Yeah. So that's basically, so you just do that as hard as you can, squeeze
as hard as you can.
Yeah, just if you've never done it before, you want to do that just so you know how it feels. Okay. Right, and then all of a sudden you want to start repping it out and like squeeze and release. And you know you have apparently you know you have a healthy pelvic floor when if you're going for a pee, you can stop it and go, and then stop it and go at will, and that's a good pelvic floor.
Can you do that?
Yes.
I can do that. I hear people saying once you start you can't stop. I get worried about them. I'm like, oh no, you definitely should be able to do that.
Yeah. Well, so it's
unless you had a baby.
Yeah, exactly. So sometimes because like the pelvic floor in my head, I did a Pilates course and I had no idea what the pelvic floor actually was. I just thought it was a little muscle between your legs and you could tense it and it kept everything nice and stable. Okay, but your pelvic floor is a group of muscles. Like imagine your pelvis as a bowl, which most people do, and along the bottom of it, you know, if your pelvis was a bowl, it doesn't have a bottom, except you have all these little muscles underneath it. That's the pelvic floor. All those muscles that interlink under there, and you can squeeze all those together, keep it nice and stable. Now, when you have a baby and it starts getting pretty big, it starts getting pretty heavy, and it puts a lot of weight on that pelvic floor. So a lot of times, like it can get weak, and it can get so weak and just sort of collapse that they can't hold their pee.
One thing I thought was really
incontinent.
Incontinent, I think so. Yeah. One thing I found really interesting about the course, what they said was that you should avoid doing kind of jumping exercises and anything kind of like up and down, which I kind of assumed.
I assumed that anyway, but I actually had no idea why. Yeah. Like I was like, to be fine.
No, I know. I
never did it, but
I assume not for the baby, not have the baby jumping about all the place. But the thing with the pelvic floor is that if you imagine like your pelvic floor is like a trampoline.
That's exactly the image that really helps.
So if you imagine your pelvic floor is like a trampoline and you basically are jumping up and down on this trampoline, and normally there's not a whole pile of internal pressure or weight, so it's fine to just kind of press up and down and breathe and embrace and all that kind of stuff. But when you literally get somebody jumping on your springs or on the trampoline, the springs literally aren't designed, they're not designed, but they'll be put under serious duress. And if they get put under that duress, eventually you can overstretch them and then lead to an extended or distended pelvic floor or an overextended pelvic floor. And anybody knows anything about muscles, if a muscle is overextended, your ability to contract it then starts to get very, very poor and leading to weakness. And your pelvic floor, as you talked about, is important to pee, and that's why you get women who are post babies jump up and down, do jumping jacks, return to exercise, and start piddling on the floor or
or just quietly and embarrassing onto the bathroom.
And leaking down below.
But it's crazy. Like we were the only two guys on the course as well, by the way.
I actually didn't even notice that.
Yeah, well, she kept mentioning.
I don't see things like gender, obviously.
Oh Jesus! But it was really interesting, like because a lot of the ladies who were doing it actually had babies and all that sort of stuff, and they were kind of getting it and all that stuff. But like, you did kind of feel like a bit like an outsider. Well, I did anyway. Like listening in.
I'm a dad now. I'm not sure if anybody knows from the hundreds of podcasts I talk about. But yeah, I'm a dad now, and I actually went through this whole experience with my partner, my fiance.
Your fiance. Oh yeah, he proposed as well, which is so cute. Yeah, I forget what I was going to say there.
I'm a dad.
We were the only one. we were the only lads there, and the way they were talking about it was kind of referencing, like, it wasn't in the sort of like female perspective of it and all that sort of stuff. And that's one of the things that I found with ladies who are pregnant. It's sort of, as a lad, you just sort of be like, yeah, okay, you put it in a box and be like pregnant, and then like a bubble of protection, and just be careful to get around it. But like, women don't have to be wrapped in bubble wrap. They're actually pretty tough and resilient. It's only towards like the second trimester and third trimester that they have to start sort of protecting themselves a lot more.
Yeah, second trimester, exactly, which is, guys, anybody who doesn't know what the trimesters are.
I actually didn't know until I did this course.
The trimester,
split the tree.
Alright, no, you just keep talking over me.
Oh, I'm just helping.
Alright.
Go.
Oh, sorry. Right, so the first one, 3 weeks, 12 weeks, 3 weeks. Pregnancy is going to last around 42 weeks, and I believe they allow now you to go over by 2 weeks. So I think if you can be up to 44 weeks pregnant now. Guys, if I'm wrong, comment below, let me know, send me a message.
Well, how I thought about it was basically you've got nine months pregnant, and then you split that into 3 trees.
Yeah, no, I get that. What I'm saying is, like, so it's a 42-week term, but
it can be 44.
You can't go over, you can go under.
Yeah, it should be. I think ladies went over by a month before.
No, I don't think so.
Never.
No, I think they might have, but they won't let you anymore.
Ah, okay.
So literally like 2 weeks now, and then they take you in for a planned C-section.
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
Or maybe not a C-section. They might
use hormone-induced labour.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
So
you learned something new, huh?
First one's 12 weeks. After that, it's 12 to 25, and after that, it's 25 to 42. But basically, all the adaptations really start coming in at 12 weeks. So once you start your second trimester, that's when things are going to start changing for you in terms of what you are allowed and not allowed to do. Stuff like lying on your back, stuff like going overhead, stuff like doing isometric holds.
So let's talk about it a little bit. We'll go through all the ones that you said. So why are you not allowed to lie on your back?
You're not allowed to lie on your back due to internal pressure onto the baby.
Yeah, and the organs and the bladder and all that sort of stuff as well. So with the baby, when you lay on your back, the baby can just sink right back down, and there's a nerve that as well that it can sit on, and it can make you really dizzy as well.
Okay.
I think is it the vagus? No, I don't think it's the vagus nerve. There's some nerve, I forget what it's called, but basically sometimes it can go there, and then the lady who's doing the exercise can just feel quite dizzy from the baby just laying down. Why are you not allowed to do anything overhead?
Not allowed to do anything overhead because it can take blood flow away from the baby.
Yes. So when you do stuff overhead, blood pressure can drop, and most of the blood pressure should be going to the baby. So when you're lifting,
I thought that was very interesting for me.
But it's not. So the body, I think this is what I think is right. The body won't prioritize the mother over the baby. Will prioritize the baby and the fetus, and the woman will get dizzy by doing it again. So
it takes away from blood flow to the mother's brain.
Exactly. Okay. So what are you supposed to do instead? Eliminate all overhead movements. If you want to do a shoulder press, I was actually in my head I was thinking, so you never just train your shoulders, when she was explaining it, and then all of a sudden she said, I'll just do front raises. I was like, why didn't I think of that?
Front raise, lat raise, rear delts.
Yeah, boom, and then so
so cool. Some interesting changes that I thought were interesting during pregnancy. So your blood volume goes up 40%. So you've got 40% more blood in your body, obviously. Your cardiac output goes up 45% by week 24. All right, so you're
breathing a lot faster.
Yep. Your stroke volume increases.
I wonder if that leads to an increase in anxiety.
You know, so you have to ask pregnant ladies.
I would. If you've ever been pregnant and you've noticed your cardiac output or your breath.
No, because I don't think like you wouldn't feel breathless. Because you're
No, I don't mean breathless. So you get anxious based on your physiology. So like if you breathe and you breathe deep and slow, you feel calm. If you breathe, start going.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That doesn't happen.
Doesn't it?
No, because although the cardiac output goes up, it's in line with everything. Because it's not like the track's longer now.
Okay.
So because the track's longer, the heart's working at a faster rate than normal, but the overall pace is the same.
Okay, that's cool.
So your rest and pulse rate will go up. So like I said, the heart rate will go up, but you won't notice it physiologically. Again, I could be wrong, and everybody's probably different. But in general, I don't think we see women panting.
Well, what I have heard is shortness of breath, not being able to get enough air in and stuff, and that usually comes from shallow chest breathing. I'm sure it'll be a little bit harder to breathe into the belly and stuff I'm not going to debate you about it because I don't know, I can't back it up. But if it goes up, I would assume that they're breathing a little bit faster because like the lungs don't necessarily get bigger.
Good point. Very interesting, actually. Yeah, good shout.
Just curious.
Yeah.
I wonder, ladies, comment.
We're just thinking out loud here, guys.
Yeah.
We're thinking out loud.
Again, we just did the course. We didn't pass yet. This is just some of the stuff we learned. We did the course yesterday morning, and we didn't do any study yet because we have full-time jobs and all that sort of stuff.
But we haven't done none study. I've done a little bit of study.
Have you? Okay. Well, I've done no study. This is my study.
I made notes. So your blood pressure goes down. So it should remain normal, but it will go down. Your cardiac reserve, so blood left in the heart, also goes down. So your heart becomes more efficient pump for pump. It's not leaving waste, not whatnot. There's nothing left in that heart to get rid of it all. Muscle relaxing hormone produced.
Oh, relaxing.
That was
that's
very
cool. So one of the things did we get a clear answer to it? We kind of got like a sort of like maybe. So in my head, as someone who struggled with tightness, I instantly got jealous. I was like, oh man, all I have to do is get pregnant. I'll get all this relaxing in my body, and then I can really stretch. Because what relaxing does is it loosens the muscles, and it also loosens the tendons and the joints and all that sort of stuff. And the tendons and the ligaments are the hard ones to sort of stretch. Like the muscles can stretch pretty easy, but the tendons and the ligaments are the ones you have to spend time stretching, and it takes lots and lots and lots of time to stretch for that. But the relaxin, that hormone, really helps loosen all that out. Now, the perspective that we were being taught from was don't stretch, don't do static stretches because you can overstretch. And
no, I literally thought the exact same as you. I was like, this is the time
to do all the stretching.
If I have a tight client, now we stretch.
Yeah, oh, you're pregnant. Oh, happy days. Let's just open those hips. Let's make sure the hamstrings are nice and loose. Let's make sure the glutes aren't too tight. Let's make sure we can fix that posture now that the pecs are a little bit.
I think that's the answer we got. So the answer that we got was essentially it's not as if they're going to remain that tight and they can take advantage of this hormone. That what will happen is the range of motion will just automatically improve.
Ah, okay.
So basically, the hips will just be more open naturally because the relaxin's in there. So it's not as if it doesn't require the stimulus. It is literally as if it's all just relaxed anyway. And then what's going to happen then is you're going to go ahead and start pulling on already relaxed muscles and maybe overextend and overstretch.
Yeah, and that's what they said to be careful about. So, but still, I want to see. I would like to see a test before. Like, I'd like to see a lady who's done, like, let's say, a toe touch test and couldn't touch her toes, and then
knock her up.
Well, not me personally, but then if she got pregnant and then to do the same sort of test, like, what's halfway in pregnancy? I don't know in weeks. Let's say 3.5 months, 4.5 months in.
12 weeks is a trimester.
That's so we'll say,
18 weeks.
24. We'll say 20 weeks in, whatever. When does relaxing peak? I wonder when that. We weren't told it in that much detail.
Well, 21 weeks. Wouldn't it be 21 weeks? So 14
but
weeks.
Do we know that that's when relaxing peaks?
Oh,
it could be coming down. We actually got it. We actually get in one of the slides. There was the hormones and the timeline and when they peak and when they drop in the slides. I don't know if it's in that.
Slides, yeah.
But I can't remember because we just went over it briefly. But basically, I wonder what would happen if we got a lady to do a toe touch test. Then she gets pregnant, and then at the time where relaxing's peaked, see if she can touch her toes. And I just think it would be really cool to see if she could.
It would be really cool. It would be really, really cool.
And also give her some gains in yoga.
So guys, if you decide to do that and you want to risk overstretching your muscles, please do that experiment for us and let us know how it goes.
Please. Oh, but you're not supposed to actually do. You're not. Not the next. You're not allowed to do any forward folding. You're not allowed to do any round bending over. So the toe touch test is actually obsolete because we're stupid.
Well, it depends. Yes, yeah.
You know, maybe if you extend a little bit and you protect the baby, maybe move into the space.
You could maybe just wouldn't use your belly or your legs. You can stretch your muscles around your hamstrings.
We could do different.
You could do a hip extension test.
Yeah, you could.
You could do overhead or a chest.
Well, I was just saying, look, the tightest part of my body is my hamstrings, and that's what I was projecting onto this situation.
Look, you listen, right? Chris, identify as a woman.
I do, identify as female.
Pregnant.
Can I do that? Just by identifying?
I'm not sure what the rules are now. I'm not even sure I'm allowed to say that.
What if I pretend to be pregnant and I identify as a pregnant lady?
You'd have to identify with having relaxing as well.
Oh, nice.
Or maybe if you identify as pregnant, then you can go to the doctor, get them to prescribe you relaxing.
Alright, what's next? So we got on to relaxing. That was a cool part of it.
Blood cycle time for return goes up. Yeah, so if you were to put, like, let's say a blood cell and you were to mark that blood cell and you were to time it to do a lap, it would take a minute, let's say. And then if you were to get pregnant and then do that, it would take even longer because now you've got more blood vessels and all that kind of stuff to travel through. So as I said, the course gets longer.
Through the baba as well, the placenta, not through the baba, the placenta, and then it goes from the placenta to the baby, right?
Yeah.
I don't know much about pregnancy.
Yeah.
I mean, I know loads about it now.
It's like you grew an extra arm and it just has to also go through that arm and come back as well. So it just take more time. Respiratory, increased respiratory rate. So your breathing rate will go up.
Oh, I told you. There you go.
But I don't know if it'll lead to anxiety.
I don't know if it'll lead to anxiety, but the rate goes up. And usually when, tell you what, anyone at home, if you want to try it, she's whistling. Anyone who wants to try it at home, just sit for a second, notice how you feel, breathe into your belly like 10 times. We're not going to do it now because it'll take too long, but do it 10 times, slow it down, you can pause the video for it, see how you feel. You notice there'll be a little sense of calm, and then do 30 short, shallow breaths, breathing only into the top of your chest. If you do that, what'll happen? You'll feel a little bit rushed or a little bit panicky. And if you're doing that all day, unconsciously unaware of it, you just live a day where your shoulders are up in your ears and you're a little bit stressed. Isn't that mad?
It's mad.
You also don't believe it, do you?
I wasn't listening, sorry, I was reading on. What'd you say?
I know, I could see that. I was talking to the camera and then I looked over at you and you're like, oh, he's paying no attention.
I was trying to come up with an interesting next talking point.
I have a few interesting next talking points.
Alright, so you tell me your last talking point and then we'll go on to yours.
So the last talking point was the breath there. That if you breathe shallowly into the top of your chest repeatedly for about 30 breaths, you will feel more anxious after doing that. You will literally feel anxious, and it's the only way to sort of say it. You'll be like, your cortisol might go up. So there is actually this breath work called Kappalabati Breathing in yoga, where you do that purposefully, stimulate adrenal glands. You usually do it at the start of an intense sort of yoga
I have a
session.
little pit in my stomach.
Yeah, it's
That's
weird,
hilarious.
isn't it? Yeah, but now you just, to calm down, just breathe into your belly, let your belly inflate and deflate. But if you force it too much, you stress yourself and you worry and you panic.
I'm
you
stressed
don't
now.
relax.
Alright, I need some relaxing.
So the next one I want to talk about is weight gain. Let's talk about weight gain. Do you have the numbers there? Please tell me you have the numbers.
I think I know the numbers.
Do you actually?
Yeah.
I think you know numbers for about 2 of them, and that's it.
Oh, I thought they were the 2 numbers.
No, there's like bucket. There's like
yeah,
there's like 7 or 8.
That was in the slide.
Yeah, I know, but I thought you would have.
I can look it up.
Can you?
I can look it up.
Go for it. Google it right now. That's what. Oh, pull it up, Jamie.
I have access to the internet.
So basically, women, if you didn't know, gain weight when they're pregnant. 7. Now this is.
Oh my
very
god! Weight gain during lockdown. Come on.
So women gain. These are averages and not definite numbers. So they gain around 7. Do you want to talk? 7 pounds of fat.
I got it.
Or reserve fat. Go for it.
I got it. You're right, Chris. I'll take it from here.
Go for it, bro.
So apparently your breasts can grow 1 to 2 pounds.
That's very interesting.
That's interesting.
But no, like 1 to 2 pounds is actually a lot.
It's a lot. You can grow a cup size. You might go 2. You might go 3. All women are different, and all women are people. The baby can grow between 6 to 10 pounds, 6 to 8 pounds. I've even heard of babies growing up to 14 pounds. Baby was born a stone. A stone. Any pregnant ladies out there, I'm sure you're terrified. All right. A placenta can grow 1 to 2 pounds, and again, I'm sure that it's more and sometimes less. Maybe, I don't know. These are all averages, and again, depending on your size, is going to be, it's all relative. Your uterus can gain 1 to 2 pounds. Amniotic fluid 2 to 3 pounds. Total weight gain 25 to 35 pounds. Your blood can increase 3 to 4 pounds. Your protein and fat storage 8 to 10 pounds, and your body fluids 3 to 4 pounds. So I think I have another one here. So here's another thing that's interesting is obviously if you're already overweight, if you're already, especially if you're, well,
that was my next point.
Well, yeah. So if you're underweight, you're expected to gain more weight. So if you're underweight, you're expected to gain 28 to 40 pounds.
Maybe we need to be clear on the word expected, as in it's like you should. The doctors will recommend you gain a bit more weight, not that it just will happen automatically. Like you're recommended that you gain. Do you have the numbers there?
Yeah.
So if you're underweight, 28
to 40 pounds.
And if you're overweight, you shouldn't. So like that, this is the main one that I think is really important, especially for women who are a little bit heavier. So it's like you're not eating for 2. Do you get me? You're only eating in a slight caloric surplus. The same way if you're doing a lean bulk, like a slight caloric surplus to give your body a little bit of nutrients. If you're hungry, eat. It's fine. If you overeat, it's not the end of the world. But if you're really heavy and like you're really overweight, like don't take the attitude that you're eating for 2. Only eat like a tiny bit more, and don't like overdo it, because it's not an excuse to binge and eat a load of crap. Like, again, the same thing for good nutrition still applies. Like, all the nutrition stuff still applies. Minimally processed whole foods. Don't eat too much sugar, and like that's basically it. Don't overeat like mad.
Here's one thing I noticed with pregnancy.
Protein is important too.
When Chloe was pregnant, is, you know, you're gonna have cravings. So you've got cravings to contend with. Anybody who watched the podcast with Kathy Malloy when she was here, she gained loads of weight. I think she might have gained 3 stone when she was pregnant, because her cravings, unfortunately for her, were just bread. Like, in general, it's like, look, cravings is not the same as hungry. You know, cravings is apparently this thing that is just ridiculous. It feels like you're going to die if you don't get it. You know what I mean? So imagine...
I get cravings for stuff. It's just more like a deep want.
No. Alright, guys.
It's like a deep want. It's like, if I had that, all my happiness would just fill up.
Is that really what it's like?
That's what I think anyway.
Yeah, that's what you think. You weren't pregnant for. You don't know.
Oh, sorry. Oh, so because I wasn't pregnant, I couldn't have cravings? Or are they different?
Oh, you got the same hormones as a woman who's pregnant before, did you?
I identify as female, so yeah.
You identify as female?
A pregnant female.
Brilliant.
So that's where all my cravings come from.
Brilliant. That's where all your insights come from. Cool. So, as I said, guys.
Sorry, go on.
Look, we all have hormones, okay? So, if you've ever been hungry and you've ever had like a real hunger pang, that's a hormone that did that to you. So,
ghrelin.
If you've ever been a man and you've ever been aggressive and you've, you know, literally lost your shit in a just a whole craziness of testosterone, or here's actually a better one, testosterone and your let's say horniness level. Like, when women go through their cycle, women are more what would you say, sexually inclined around the time that testosterone spikes, right? And that's basically women getting a small insight to what it's like to be a man. All right, and as well as that, you can basically monitor that as well as your gym performance. Women will perform better at those times, and that to me is basically just a slight. It's an interesting fact to say hormones are powerful. So the fact that, like, let's say for women, you know, the change in sexual behavior can change from week to week with hormones, and you know, hunger can change at different periods of the day due to hormones. To say that, you know, a craving when your body is going through this crazy hormonal mixture of massive changes happening, you know, a craving could be something special.
Yeah,
you know
100%. I agree. I agree.
That's just because, again, I
take back my previous statement.
I really hate that kind of you know, this. Oh, I understand what it's like. I had, you know, a hunger pang before. It's like, look, you don't know.
Actual hunger pangs are actually pretty bad.
Do you know one thing I noticed? Right, see, when I became a parent, right, I jumped on to this bandwagon of people of just going, like, you just understand at a different level, to the point where, like, when you start talking to people, you just start smirking, like, oh yeah, you just think you know now. It's like, you know what it is, and until you join the team, you will have this skeptical attitude. I know what it's like to love a baby. I know what love is. I love my car. So shut up. Shut up. And it's the same thing as, like, when you're a woman and you get pregnant and you have a craving, I'm sure there's a look that they all give. It's like, oh, cravings. We know, we're part of the team. You know, that sort of way. It's like, you don't know. It's like everybody's just kind of looking at it. It's like, oh, you think you know what it's like to go to hell? Oh, have you ever done a minute flat out on an assault bike? You know,
it's still traumatized.
Have you ever spent 3 minutes of high intensity boxing with somebody who knows what they're doing?
No. Have you ever spent 3 minutes of high intensity boxing getting beat and just trying to survive the round?
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, if that has happened to you, it's like, you know what it's like. You know, and until you've been in that experience, you just don't know.
You're like, oh man, I just fucking sidestep.
There's an odd sidestep, man. I just sidestep, duck under left hook. Would you? Great. Now you know how that goes. Anyway, so as I said, so women are going to get these hunger pangs to contend with as well. So portion control, where you are in control, is going to be so important, because if you just eat like you're treating yourself a little bit and you don't account for the fact that there's going to come a stage where you're not in control, weight gain is definitely going to be you know, on the go, and you're going to be gaining maybe extra body fat than necessary. And then the only issue with that is, obviously, it is going to leave you more unhealthy. It's going to put your body under stress, and then you're going to have to try and lose it all then, if that's your goal then, when you come to foresighted pregnancy.
But at the same time as well, like, if you gain a little bit of extra weight when you're pregnant, it's not that big a deal, to be honest. Like,
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Like,
exactly.
unless you have a really unhealthy relationship with food, like, well, fat loss is really simple. Fat loss is really, really simple. If you come to Fight and Fit, we'll show you exactly what to do. Again, I know that seems like a shameless plug, but Like that's why we're doing the podcast.
But
it's simple. It's easy. It's very, very simple to lose weight.
I have no problem selling people the Fighting Fit program because it's worth every penny and more.
Yeah, 100%.
It's literally like if you don't buy the Fighting Fit plan, I feel bad for you because you're not getting what you could be in. You know, there's so much value here. It's like, honestly, I literally feel like I'm giving people discounts every time I charge them for a week. It's like, are you serious? Like, it's going to cost you whatever it is per class, per thing. You know, it's like it's ridiculously cheap.
It actually is, yeah. But on top of that as well, like if you are a healthy individual and you exercise regularly, it's the same thing. Like imagine like you're a footballer and all of a sudden lockdown happened and football stopped, and then all of a sudden the lockdown's lifted, you're back out playing football. Like, but before that you gained a little bit of weight. Once you're back playing football and your nutrition improves and you start focusing on your performance a little bit, then you just go back to normal. Like getting fat or getting a little bit fatter is not a big deal at all. It happens to everyone at least 10 times in your life, unless you're Athlete X and you stay lean 365 days a year, all year round, and don't enjoy your birthday cake.
Tough. You eat carrot cake once a year.
I feel bad for you, man.
Bro. Right, cool guys, look, we're going to have to wrap this up very, very shortly. So what we're going to leave you with is, we'll give Chris a penny for his thoughts, just kind of wrap it up now towards the end. But here's some benefits of exercising while you're pregnant. Here is the main guideline that I did get from exercising while you're pregnant is, 1, you don't want to create a big curve. You don't want to crush your belly, which makes real sense. You don't want to line your back. You don't want to press overhead. You don't want to go above an RPE, rate of perceived exertion. You don't want to push yourself beyond 60 or 70%. But what you also can do is you can continue to do, you know, things within 60 to 70% of your exercise capacity. So if you never did weight training, you can't start weight training, unfortunately. If you never did spin class, you can't start a spin class. But if you are proficient and well experienced in an exercise program, and it's not crunching the actual baby or the womb or the placenta or any of that kind of crap,
raising your arms up overhead.
or raising your arms up overhead, you're pretty much safely carrying on what you're doing, provided that you're not drastically rotating or changing the position or crunching or physically putting weight into the actual baby and the actual bump. But here's the benefits, all right, of why you would continue exercise is reduced backache by strengthening, keeping the back nice and strong, keeping the muscles nice and strong, reducing constipation, bloating and swelling, preventing diabetes, improving energy levels, improving your sleep, promoting muscle tone, improving your mood and your posture, decreasing labour. Now, these are kind of theoretical, so they're not...
I mean, these ones aren't proven scientifically,
these aren't
but they're anecdotally suggested.
Yeah, they can decrease your labour time, they can aid in a quicker recovery, less incidence of meconium, which is basically the baby's bowels are filled with this substance called meconium, and essentially it's their first poo, or the first few poos, and essentially it's called meconium. And what can happen? No, not really. It's really sticky and black. It's actually not that bad. When you're a baby, you'll know all about it.
You don't want a baby anytime soon.
It's not that bad. I changed nappies, man. It's not that bad. I literally thought the exact. I was like, nappies. I hate changing my own nappy. So less incidence of meconium, so basically means in the womb the baby can release this during labour, and essentially the baby can breathe that in or swallow it, and it's really, really bad for them. I think breathing it in is worse because swallowing just goes through the same system. Less fetal distress as well. Alright, so there are all the benefits. That's why you keep on exercising. And again, as we said, you want to keep on. Here's some nutrition guides. Nutrition tip. Good nutrition is vital. Include all your macros, so don't cut out anything. There's absolutely no need. Use the recommended RDAs. Consult with a doctor. An extra 200 to 300 calories daily. Consider taking on extra, but again, be in contact with a doctor when you're doing this. Extra calcium, iron, vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin B6, vitamin B12, and folate. All right, and Chris, over to you. Any kind of final thoughts you want to leave the guys with?
Yeah, pregnant women are badass. You can still train really hard if you're in the first trimester. That's about it. Weightlifting. Oh yeah, if you are a badass before you get pregnant, you can be a badass much longer into your pregnancy. So like if you're used to lifting weights, like you said, the goal when you're exercising while you're pregnant is maintenance and to feel good, not necessarily smash new PBs. So that, I thought that was pretty interesting. But on top of that, like if you're a powerlifter lady and you can deadlift 100 kilos with relative ease, when you're pregnant coming up into your second trimester, you can still do that. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with it.
But I wouldn't be trying to set new one RMs.
Exactly.
Or
exactly.
Three RMs.
Yeah, you don't want the intensity to go up like mad.
Maintain.
Okay?
Maintain is the goal.
Maintain and not lose. Yeah. Maintain, not lose, feel good. That's it. And when you actually stop exercising for intensity and to lose weight and for all that sort of stuff, and you exercise to feel good, you start enjoying exercise a lot more. So exercise to feel good, not to bust yourself.
And that, my friends, is this week's podcast. Guys, as always, thanks so much for listening. You can catch me on Instagram at FF Movement Coach. You can catch Chris on Instagram at
FFM.
And you can catch the
FF Chris M.
FFM. And you can follow the main Instagram at fighting_fit. Guys, as always, thank you for watching. Don't forget, if you're watching on YouTube, to like and subscribe to the channel. And if you're listening on Spotify or any other podcast mediums, go onto YouTube and like and subscribe to our channel. Hit that alert button, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.